Well, another week, another roundup. But what do we have this week? Well, you probably already saw the title, so what's the fun in that? Personally, there isn't. And without further delay, let's get into this episode of Pass the Salt. Okay, let's start this off right with some AMD news from WCCF Tech, specifically how AMD is ready for their 5nm release in 2021. When the release does come around, it will be built on AMD's Zen 4 architecture to start. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty nuts considering how both Intel and Nvidia are still stuck on how to get down to 7nm, while AMD is sitting here ready for 5nm. On top of that, TSMC's yield for 5nm have already surpassed their 7nm yields. For some numbers, TSMC's 5nm process has passed the 50% mark. Funny enough, that 50% line is where their 7nm yields is sitting at. Luckily, production has been boosted from 50,000 to 70,000 units per month, so there will be plenty to share around when AMD brings something to the table in the future. And with the reported 15% boost in clock speeds, things are looking bright for the red team. I do wonder how the blue and green team are going to answer this though. But instead of pondering on that question, because we can save that for a later video, hint hint, let's move on to our next topic, where Ars Technica reports on Qualcomm Snapdragon 865. This year, they are delivering a 25% boost in both CPU and GPU performance. What helps this is the use of TSMC's 7nm process that is also used in Apple's A13 chip. Way to hit it a year late, Qualcomm. One of my favorite aspects in the new design is the performance boost in the camera end of the chip. With the new design, it can support up to a 200 megapixel camera. And that's not the end of it. 8K videos in 30 FPS is now a real thing. 4K 60 is also lovely, accompanied with a slow-mo of 720p at 960 FPS indefinitely. All of that, every last bit, is just amazing. Oh, and the new chip does come with a mandatory 5G standard, so your phone will now get constantly pinged for the non-existent 5G signal in your area. Yay! That would also pair lovely with Samsung's Galaxy S11's new cameras. Coming from WCCF Tech, Samsung has some plan with their camera options thanks to the Snapdragon 865. The main feature is the planned 8K video support. Quite the feat, and maybe a little ahead of the curve considering that even 4K is not widely adopted just yet. Luckily, there will be an option at 4K running 120 frames per second. Let's hope the storage options are sufficient to hold these massive video files. And with pressure coming from Huawei, Samsung will need as big of an advantage in every way possible. Honestly, Samsung could spend some time fixing their software to make it usable so customers get their notifications within the half hour they were sent. But no, that's not important it seems. Just have to be stuck with being behind. Oh well. Seriously, instant messages aren't very instant when they're delayed by an hour. Moving back into the computer side of things, or on the server side in this case, ARM takes a step into the ring. From Tom's Hardware, Amazon has plans to use ARM's Graviton 2 processor in their new server farms. This is a massive leap forward for ARM, having their giant partner seemingly throw them their distance. But what caught Amazon's eye exactly? Could it have been the 20% lower cost? The 40% higher performance? Or were they armed into the deal? No one may ever know. In reality though, the claimed 40% performance is based on Intel's cores that are not using hyper-threading, which is fair considering the need to disable hyper-threading for maximum security. Instead, the Graviton 2 competes in a very similar way that AMD is currently competing, with core count and price. But how big of a blow is this to Intel? And with some well laid out math from the article, it works out to about $1 billion cut from their revenue. Honestly, go read this article for yourself. It's quite the read. And with AMD entering the market as well with their EPYC processors, things might get shaken up in the server market. Well, at server speed that is, which can take a pretty long time for new things to come into fruition, because server changes take in the order of years to be implemented. Well, that wraps it up for this time. Please feel free to comment below to continue the discussion. I would love to hear what you have to say. And while you're down there, feel free to subscribe to us. And go ahead to the description and check out Culture of Gaming, our affiliate website where you can find Taylor and I, as well as many other fine people writing about all things gaming. See you next time.